Well, good morning, everyone. I hope that you are awake and doing well this Monday morning. We're in Matthew chapter number 5, and we probably will be in Matthew for most of the week because right now in Matthew chapter number 5, Jesus is teaching his Sermon on the Mount, and he is really dealing with quite a bit of common problems that we have as humans, sinful humans for that, if we want to go that far. But he deals with a couple of common problems that people think, okay, well, I didn't break the letter of the law, but we don't understand the spirit of the law. So Jesus gives the full magnitude of these two situations to help us better understand all of them, the areas of sin. Well, I don't think that we have a tremendous amount of murderers in our congregation or those of you listening, unless we apply Jesus' teaching on where murder begins. We don't have a universal problem of adultery in our church family or those watching, but we do probably have a more universal problem with where that immorality begins. And so let me just read a couple of verses on the subject of murder, and then I'll read a couple of verses on the subject of adultery, which is any sexuality outside of marriage, outside of our marriage, especially when we're married. And so let me just read a couple of verses here, and then I'm just going to add a little bit more commentary. He says, verse number 21 of chapter number 5, he says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and shall whosoever shall say to his brother Raka, which is probably a very common cursing type of words, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire. And so obviously those were levels of bitterness inside of our hearts that he was saying, hey, these things lead to murder, they lead to hurt and heartache. Then let's look at adultery, which actually is quite a bit more common, especially in our day. Verse number 27 says, and ye have heard it said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Okay, so let's just stop there for a second. So he says that murder begins in the thought processes of that generate bitterness and things like that. And then adultery begins in the thought processes of the heart, where we first think through the activity and then we find a physical way to act it out. And he says, you need to cut this thing off way earlier. You need to stop sin early. In fact, in verse number 29 of our chapter, he says this, and if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and that not thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right eye offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee, for it is profitable that for thee that one of the members shall perish, and not that the whole body should be cast into hell. Isn't that interesting? He says, you would be better off if you have a hand problem where you're going to reach out and hurt someone, to cut that hand off so that you can't. Now, that's not exactly what he wants you to do, but he's saying you'd be better off to get rid of the hand that would reach to kill. You'd be better off. And he says, and if you're having a problem with your eyes where you're lusting after someone or something, you'd be better off to be blind than to allow your lust to be fulfilled in open and wild sin. And so he's basically telling us we need to pull the weeds in our lives before they take a root and choke out the good that God is trying to do in us. So beware this week. We all have this problem. It's called sin, and we need to weed it out early. is what Jesus is telling us to do. Get rid of it quickly. Whether it's anger at someone that's turning into bitterness, or it's a lust that's beginning to seek ways to be acted out, find a way to get rid of that. And those may not be the two you're struggling with. You may have materialism. You may just have other loves that take the place of God. We talked about that on Sunday morning. You need to weed it out before it consumes. And so I hope that helps you begin your week on the right foot. God must be worshiped and must be first. And so we need to weed out anything that is against him or his ways. Have a great day.